minutes ahead of time that we were going to be hit because of the sniper fire and the dogs alerting. And I'd already been out and walked part of the perimeter, and I was getting shot at coming back, and they were getting closer. I could hear the bees. I couldn't hear the rifle reports, but I could hear the Z's going by me. I couldn't no longer breathe. I couldn't communicate. I couldn't shout. I couldn't move. I was gone. And it seemed like out of nowhere, his hands came out. He just got a hold of me. And I couldn't communicate any longer. I just remember being thrown somewhere. And
now we were on patrol in the city, and we heard the explosion, one of the explosions, and we could tell it was nearby, and we could see the flames and everything from where we were. And we got a radio call, go to the airport, you're going to escort fire trucks up to where the attack is taking place. When I got there, Doug needed to get to the hospital, or I should have said this, the sergeant at the time needed to get to the hospital as fast as, there were no more ambulances, there were no more medics, we couldn't get any help from anybody for medical. So Jerry Crane, my partner, got in the back seat behind the driver so that he could tell him, slow down, turn here, that kind of thing. And Doug was in the front passenger seat, and I was behind him holding him, and I have to confess, I was slapping him in the face and saying, Sarge, stay with me, we were almost to the hospital, that kind of stuff. And he says, my foot hurts. And I'm thinking, oh my God, this guy doesn't even know his leg's not there, never mind his foot hurts. And what my thought was, it's better that he's in shock, that he doesn't have to know that and feel that. I was sent to the hospital to do guard duty for a Viet Cong prisoner who was wounded actually in the same ward that he was in. And so when I got there, came into the room asking the nurse where my prisoner was, and then I said to him, well, how about is there anybody from the tank farm attack in here? He says, yeah, there's a sergeant right over there who was in the attack, and it was it was that point that I wished, I have a 51-year regret that I didn't walk over. I didn't want to bother him. He was, not in great shape. He was awake. He probably, we could have had conversation. I don't know if he would have remembered it. But I thought, I don't want to bother him, and to go over and talk to him, to me seemed like it was like bravado. Why would I go over and say, hey, by the way, I'm getting ready to go, and I didn't know it was Doug, but Doug was either asleep or had, passed out from a painkiller or whatever. And I left, and it was one of those things I said to myself, why didn't I just go over and introduce myself and get his name, and we could have had contact. It bothered me for 51 years that I didn't know who he was or what happened to him, or did he live, or if he lived, what kind of life did he have? So to be able to find out, and we started, of course, with I got the 2 emails, and I'm thinking, oh my God, if you get an email and somebody says, thank you for saving my life, you pay attention to that email. And then the second email, which was really, for me, an emotional experience, he says, I want to tell you the kind of life I've had that you allowed me to have, meaning that, being part of rescuing him at that night was he was able to survive and have a full life. Not an easy life, but a full life.
He knew what to look for when I pulled up in my Jeep, quote Jeep, and he recognized the car. He got in the car. I said, we're not going to do anything here, Rick. I already had some tears, but I drove down to the cell phone waiting area. I said, let's do our main greeting here in case I have a rush of emotions.
I threw my bags in the back. Tina made me sit in front with him, and he said, they said, we can't do anything here. I'm gonna stop at the cell phone lot. So I said, okay, so we pull into the cell phone lot. I get out and I run around to the other side of the car, and he comes out and he's got himself standing, leaning against the car. And so we just started to give a big hug to each other. And but it wasn't a lot of conversation. Been a little bit of blubbering at that point, you know. So, but it was a magic moment. But first time I hugged him in 51 years.
Oh, yeah.
The last time I hugged him, it was more picking him up kind of stuff.
Oh.
I'm not a young guy anymore. I've learned to be able to cry when things require it, and it was such an emotional meeting. Yeah. And a little ironic that we're in the cell phone lot hugging each other, you know, just the only place it would work, so.
And just at moments though, just a rush would come over me, and I just want to grab hold of him. And and he was very accommodating here at the kitchen table a couple of times. I just wanted to go there, and I wanted him to sit in my lap. I couldn't hold him. I just felt like he belonged to me, you know. I felt like a cat in his toy. I didn't want him out of my reach.
But in 24 hours, I've let go of a lot of stuff. I really feel like I found some peace.